You checked your bank account this morning, the number was lower than you expected. It always is. And somewhere in the back of your mind, you already know it'll happen again next month, because it always does. And you can never quite figure out why. You work. You try. You tell yourself, this time will be different. But the money disappears, the account drains, and you're left wondering what you're doing wrong. Here's the thing. You might not be doing anything wrong. Not in the way you think. The real reason you're broke isn't laziness. It isn't bad luck. It isn't even a lack of income. It's your brain. And today, you're going to find out exactly how it's working against you, in 7 specific ways that almost nobody talks about. Let's start at the beginning. Reason number 1. Your brain can't feel the future. Right now, if someone offered you $10 today or $15 next week, most people would take the 10. Not because 15 is a bad deal, it's a great deal, but your brain doesn't experience next week. It experiences right now, and right now, $10 is real. Next week is just an idea. Psychologists call this present bias, and it doesn't just affect small decisions. It affects every financial choice you make. It's why you buy the thing today, instead of saving for the thing you actually need next month. It's why you pay the minimum on your credit card, instead of attacking the balance. It's why you tell yourself you'll start saving when you make more money, and then when you make more money, you still don't start. Researcher David Labson at Harvard has spent decades studying this exact phenomenon. His work shows that humans systematically overvalue the present and undervalue the future, not because we're stupid, but because our brains evolved in an environment where the future was genuinely uncertain. For most of human history, saving made no sense. If you found food, you ate it. Right now, because tomorrow you might be dead. Your brain is still running that ancient program. The problem is, you're not living in that world anymore, but your wallet is paying the price for it. Reason number 2, you spend to feel something. Think about the last time you bought something you didn't really need. What were you feeling, right? Before you bought it, bored, stressed, lonely, frustrated. There's a reason shopping is called retail therapy. It actually works for about 20 minutes. Then the feeling fades, the purchase sits there, and your account is lighter. Emotionally, spending is one of the most underestimated forces in personal finance. It's not about greed, it's about regulation. Your brain learns very early that buying something produces a small hit of dopamine, the same chemical involved in every other pleasurable experience. And when you're feeling low, your brain goes, looking for a dopamine source, the store is always open. Psychologist April Lane Benson, who has studied compulsive buying for over 30 years, found that most problem spenders aren't motivated by the object they're buying. They're motivated by the feeling of buying it, the anticipation, the decision, the moment of acquisition. The object itself is almost irrelevant, which is why the closet fills up with things you don't use, and the account empties out, and you can't quite explain where the money went. You weren't buying things. You were buying feelings, and feelings don't go on sale. Reason number 3. You're comparing yourself to the wrong people. Humans are hardwired to measure themselves against the people around them. This isn't vanity. This is survival software. For most of human history, your social standing in your group determined whether you ate, mated, and lived. Falling behind the group was dangerous. So your brain monitors your position constantly, and it panics when it thinks you're slipping. Problem is that the people you're comparing yourself to have changed. You're no longer comparing yourself to the 30 people in your village. You're comparing yourself to everyone on your phone screen. And those people, the ones with the cars, the vacations, the outfits, the houses, are not a representative sample of reality. They are the curated highlight reels of millions of people algorithmically selected to make you feel like you're falling behind. Economist Juliet Schor documented this in her research on consumer behavior, showing that as television expanded, in the 1980s and 1990s, Americans began comparing themselves not to their neighbors, but to the fictional wealthy families they watched on screen, and their spending shot up accordingly. Social media has accelerated this by an order of magnitude. You buy things you don't need, with money you don't have, to impress people you don't know, to keep up with a standard that doesn't exist. And your brain will keep pushing you to do it, because it genuinely believes your survival depends on it. Reason number 4. You don't feel the money leaving. there is a meaningful psychological difference between handing someone a $20 bill. The physical act of giving away cash activates a mild pain response in your brain. Researchers at MIT and Carnegie Mellon, including Drazen, Prelick, have scanned brains during purchasing decisions and found that paying with cash literally hurts, just a little, in a way that digital payment does not. This is called the pain of paying, and it's one of the most important financial concepts almost no one discusses. When payment is frictionless, when you tap, click, subscribe, or swipe, your brain doesn't fully register that real money just left your possession. The psychological buffer between you and the transaction makes spending feel painless, and painless spending is spending you do more of. This is not an accident. The entire architecture of modern commerce is designed to reduce the pain of paying as much as possible. One-click purchasing, auto-renewal subscriptions, buy now, pay later. Every innovation in payment technology is an innovation in making your brain feel like you're not really spending anything. And it works. People consistently spend more when they pay digitally than when they pay with cash. Sometimes significantly more. Your money is real. Your brain just can't feel it, leaving dot. Reason number 5. You're trapped in a scarcity mindset. Here's one of the most counterintuitive findings in all of behavioral economics. Being broke can actually make you worse at managing money. Not because poverty lowers intelligence, but because scarcity consumes mental bandwidth. Researchers, Sendhil, Mullainathan, and Eldar Shafir, spent years studying the psychology of scarcity and published their findings in a landmark book on the subject. What they found was striking. When people are focused on not having enough money, time, food, anything, their cognitive capacity for everything else shrinks. They make worse decisions. They focus on the immediate problem and lose sight of the bigger picture. They borrow at high interest rates to solve today's crisis and create a bigger crisis for next month. This is called the bandwidth tax, and it creates a cycle that is genuinely difficult to break from the inside. The stress of being broke takes up so much mental space that the careful strategic thinking required to stop being broke becomes nearly impossible. You're not bad with money because you're broke. You might be bad with money because being broke is exhausting your brain. It doesn't mean the situation is hopeless. It means the solution isn't just willpower. It means the system itself needs to change before the decisions can change. Reason number 6. You believe money will fix itself later. There is a particular fantasy that almost every broke person shares. It goes something like this. Right now, things are tight. But later, when you get the raise, when you pay off this one thing, when you get the tax return, when things settle down, later you'll get it together. Later, you'll save. Later, you'll invest. Later, you'll be responsible. Later never comes. This is not a character flaw. It is a cognitive bias called optimism bias, and it affects the vast majority of human beings. Your brain is structurally inclined to believe that the future version of you will be more disciplined, more motivated, and more capable than the current version. Studies by psychologist Tali Sharot have shown that people consistently overestimate how good future outcomes will be and underestimate how much effort the future will actually require. The future you is not a different person. The future you is you, with the same habits, the same impulses, and the same brain. The raise doesn't fix the spending pattern. The tax return doesn't fix the scarcity mindset. The new job doesn't fix the emotional spending. All of those things follow you into every new financial situation you enter, until you address them directly. Waiting for later is how later never arrives. Reason number 7. You were never taught any of this. This is the one that tends to sting a little, because it's not about a study or a bias or a cognitive glitch. It's about something much simpler. Most people were never taught how money actually works, not the math of it, and certainly not the psychology of it. You learned to read, you learned history, you learned geometry, but the actual mechanics of how to build wealth, how to think about money, how to recognize when your own brain is working against your financial interests, most of that was never in the curriculum, and if it wasn't in your household either. You entered adult life with a powerful and complex financial system to navigate and almost no tools to navigate it with. That's not an excuse, but it is an explanation. And explanations matter because you can't fix what you don't understand. Here's what all 7 of these reasons have in common. None of them are about money. They're all about your brain, the way it processes time, the way it